Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sheila Berg, and we would like to spend some time with you just talking about Invisalign. It's a product that we really like, and Dr. Christy Fletcher is going to.
Hi, I'm Christy Fletcher, and I've been working with Dr. Berg approximately 12 years now. I actually moved to Texas just to get to work with this amazing orthodontist.
Well, you are too, and we're really more like family. I'm more like the mom. But I've been in practice for 31 years, and you just can't believe the changes I've seen in technology. And the very best thing I've seen in new technology is Invisalign. It came out 20 years ago, and we embraced it 20 years ago. And so 20 years ago, you could only treat simple cases with Invisalign. But now you can treat the most complicated cases, and actually Invisalign's better than for many of the complicated cases. We just have so much more control over the teeth. We have control with braces, but I like Invisalign better.
And I actually, when I moved down here to work with Dr. Berg, one of the things that she did so well compared to other practitioners was the use of Invisalign, because she'd been using it for so long. Some of the techniques and tricks that she used to accomplish the same goals and get the brilliant results that other people weren't getting were what I came to learn from her, and never left.
Well, it's been great.
Some patients have also asked, what does Invisalign treat?
Anything. Invisalign can treat anything that braces can treat.
Young cases, old cases.
We have middle of the road.
I know. When you talk about my family alone, I treated my aunt who's 67, and I treated my daughter who is 4. So there is a range of patients that it can treat and different issues that it can help correct.
Now, I think we've got some pre-submitted questions. Let's go ahead and start with those so that after we do those questions, well, one of the most obvious things is you can't see Invisalign.
It's clear.
It makes your teeth look shiny, and I think we've talked about you can eat what you want to.
I know a lot of the patients like that. There are not as many emergency appointments.
Right, and you can go long periods of time without coming in for an appointment. My sister lives in Japan, and my nieces and nephews live there. And they come in Christmas and then come back a year later, and their teeth are straight. We just gave them all the aligners, and
and half of that is because we do a lot of the treatment planning. We do all of that up front. So we decide how much the tooth moves and how much pressure is designed in the tray, and we decide that all up front so that we have predictable outcomes, and the patient has to simply follow our instructions.
It's like a video game for me. I think it's fun, don't you?
Yeah, we do enjoy doing it.
Do we have another?
There's some questions. Okay, this is our first time with Facebook Live, so please bear with us. Here we go. Question: how long do you usually wear the Invisalign?
Well, it can vary depending on how complicated the case is. But on average, it's about 14 months is what I find. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I do recommend that you wear them all day, every day, except for when you eat.
And brush your teeth.
And brush your teeth. So that's about 22 hours a day, and then the treatment time is depending on how difficult the case is, but the average time is approximately 14 months. Another question, can you chew gum with Invisalign?
I would recommend it.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It may be a little bit difficult, but that's a great question because we do have a lot of gum chewers there. But I wouldn't recommend it in the Invisalign. Can you suck on the gum for fresher breath? Yes, but I wouldn't recommend chewing it. Let's see here.
Oh, well, will Invisalign make the cough come? I didn't find it. When I wore it last year, nobody even knew that I had Invisalign in.
We have some patients that do say the first couple of days, they may have a little slight difference in speech, but they generally get over that hump and they get used to it one of the great parts about Invisalign is that, say you have a big speech coming up, or you have a conference that you have to head, or something along those lines, you can always take it out if you have a big event and then put it back in after it's complete. But most patients get over that speech issue right in the beginning. We do not need impressions to get started with Invisalign. Some patients ask me to need impressions, but what do we do here?
We don't take impressions. We scan with a light source. It takes about 4 minutes, and it goes over the internet to Invisalign, and that's all we do. It's incredible.
And technology makes the Invisalign treatments a lot easier and more comfortable for the patient, even in terms of diagnosis and the whole way through.
It's nice. You can even do Vivera retainers, which is a scan too that's made by Invisalign, and you get 8 retainers, so 4 sets of retainers. That's what I like to use. That I find it really comfortable. It's like a glove, and I just can't tell it when I go to bed at night. So see that?
So if you ever gag with the glue impressions, you know, if we can get away from doing that and need to scan for you, absolutely. Invisalign, we do all of our Invisalign through scan here.
Do you have another question?
Okay, let's see, the board is there. Does it hurt? Oh, a lot of patients ask, does this hurt? Anytime you move the teeth, you're gonna have a little bit of discomfort. You know, I had both braces. I had braces when I was younger, and I didn't wear my retainer, and then when I was older and I was in orthodontic school, I used the Invisalign. Anytime you move the teeth, you're gonna have some discomfort. However, it's definitely manageable. Usually when you change your trach, you may have discomfort for the first 2 days, but there are other apparatuses and things that we use in conjunction with Invisalign that help reduce the amount of discomfort you have, but 2 days is not that.
It's a floss. It's like a little piece of floss that has abrasive on it, and we just take it in like a flossing, and we just move back and forth, and it gives us just a little bit of space so that we can take care of crowding without having to take out teeth. But just like we rarely have to take out teeth.
And it's very minimal. It doesn't weaken the teeth at all. And the studies show that if you were going to have the pain in that tooth, you were going to have it anyway. It's not due to any of the slenderization that we do. Some patients want to know about Invisalign and what happens if you use a tray? Well, look at getting you another one. We don't have a lot of patients that lose trays. However, they give us a call and we can see what we can do if we need to advance them or just simply order another one.
Right, it's very simple.
We actually, I don't think I've had that many loose trays, maybe one here or there, and then we usually advance them. Oh, Pedro, we're glad you like your smile.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another question. Let's see. My dentist does Invisalign. Should I do it with my dentist or my orthodontist? Well, we love our dentists, absolutely. But what we do here as orthodontists, we're specialists in this area. So this is what we do all day, every day. So when you're looking at how can we help advance your treatment, what issues that you're having, sometimes there are some issues that we tackle several times a day that maybe other practitioners who don't do it as much haven't really had the time to address and figure out the tricks and techniques and be able to use the tools in order to remedy that.
And when people ask me this question, I say, well, you can go to a general physician to have your baby delivered, or you can go to an OBGYN, and I would prefer to go to an OBGYN.
Yeah, as orthodontists, Dr. Berth and myself have both had additional training in orthodontics several years after dentistry. We were general dentists first, and we loved it, but we spent a few more years studying and developing our skills and techniques to be able to treat the different cases that we do. We're also both board certified, which is an additional plus for us, which means that we were tested essentially, with our cases and written tests that to demonstrate that we have the skills as an orthodontist.
Only 20% of orthodontists are board certified. And again, talking about specialists, I could kind of blew my mind, but when they said we were top 1% in North America, which means that we do more Invisalign and get successful results than 99% of orthodontists in America. That's hard to believe, but anyway, that just shows we enjoy what we do and we get good results.
And there are some difficult cases, absolutely. But if we weren't getting the majority of our results to be successful, then we wouldn't be doing Invisalign. We do Invisalign because we love it and we see the results and we get great results.
But we just had a question, can I do Invisalign while I'm pregnant? Absolutely, there's no contraindications at all to doing it while you're pregnant. It's more comfortable, and yeah, it's an advantage to do that while you're pregnant.
It is, especially a lot of times you'll have gingival inflammation with the pregnancy. It's going to be a lot easier for you to keep Invisalign clean and your teeth clean, doing Invisalign, being able to take it out and move it and brush your teeth.
I just saw a question, explain the treatment process.
So when you come in, Dr. Burke and myself, we would have to do an exam. We would take photos, x-rays, we would make measurements, and we would decide what your treatment options are. With Invisalign, we would make key measurements and completely diagnose and treatment plan the case out up front. Once we do that, you would have already had your scan done, and we would manipulate the models and the teeth, and we do that when you're not in the office, which gives you more time to get out of the office.
Again, that's our video game. Right?
Yeah.
When we play it on the computer, and we move the teeth, we stage how the teeth are going to move. And so when we deliver those trays, as long as you wear them, we know we're going to get the result that we see at the end, and it works great. Oh, thanks, Priscilla.
Oh, thank you, Priscilla.
Priscilla, so we're number one. Yeah, thanks. Oh,
a lot of patients ask, does insurance cover Invisalign?
it does. Insurance covers Invisalign just like it covers braces. So if your policy covers braces, it's going to cover Invisalign. And we file the insurance for you here in our office. In fact, Priscilla is one of our insurance experts, and yeah, we'll help you with that.
We can actually, before you leave, let you know how much you would pay and how much your insurance would cover.
So when you schedule a consultation appointment with us, which is complimentary, you give the insurance coordinator your insurance information before you come in. We'll have all that information when you come in and before you leave.
Do you need a dental referral for Invisalign in order to come to our practice? No, you do not. You are welcome to come see us. Schedule an appointment, and we're happy to see you even without a dental referral. You do not need one. If you've been to someone and they've told you that Invisalign is not for you or you are not a candidate for Invisalign, please come see us.
They probably just haven't treated cases like that. And so we've treated every type of case in the world. And so come see us before you make the decision to put the braces on. Is there a minimum age? Well, the youngest has been 4.
Yeah, my daughter was 4, and of course we try everything out on our kids first. So my daughter, she had anterior crossbite where her front teeth sat behind her her top front teeth sat behind her lower teeth, and she was grinding at night and positioning her lower jaw forward. So what we did was we standard for Invisalign. She didn't have to take any impressions. She was okay with that. And the Invisalign moved her front teeth out of crossbite. What that did for her was allow her not to grind. She doesn't grind anymore at night. She was grinding her teeth around, trying to get into a good bite because those front teeth kept putting. Now they don't get near in a good position, and we're really pleased with the outcome. And she was 4. So I think it all depends on the patient. I wouldn't say there is you know, they have to have teeth. Let's start there. But yeah,
So you're definitely.
yeah. How often do you change your trays?
Well, we're going to, in most cases now, you change the trays once a week.
Most of the cases.
Most of the cases. Sometimes we get crowding and do that every 2 weeks, and then once we get that taken care of, we can speed up and go every week. And so the next question is it faster than braces? And I think it is faster than braces. Going once a week, we're seeing cases finish about 6 months earlier than they would with braces. So 6 months that's pretty amazing.
And I also think, you know, it depends on the type of case. Sometimes there are other factors that we can add to the case, like something that can vibrate and it vibrates, and that helps to be able to change the trays more quickly. Some patients' teeth don't move as fast, and maybe they're in them a little bit longer up to the tooth point, but it's still very reasonable treatment times, nothing excessive. Are they more expensive than braces?
No, usually they're the same price as braces.
There's some small questions here. Let's see. I've told my bite can only be fixed with regular braces. Does that vary by doctor? Absolutely, I think it does. When we evaluate how we're going to treatment plan the case, we use tools that we have in our bag that we know have been successful with predictable outcomes. If a doctor hasn't treated that type of case with Invisalign, they may not be willing to try it. So please come see us if somebody has said that it doesn't work for your case, and we would like to evaluate that for you. Let's see. Another question. There's so many.
Does it hurt? Does Invisalign hurt? It really doesn't hurt. I think it's like wearing a retainer. You make a little bit of pressure when you put it on.
Yeah, there's a little bit of discomfort, but it goes away.
It does.
Still, with my 4-year-old can do
Exactly.
and you know, anyone can do it.
And we have some tricks about that too. One is we have with the kids, we call it a magic laser, but it's a cold laser that we use after we put the Invisalign in, so that it doesn't hurt. And you're welcome anytime to come to the office and use that. If it takes about 6 minutes, and you come in with any pain, you'll leave pain-free. And there's some other devices out now that we just give you to take home too, and we can talk about that more in the consultation.
We look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for joining us. We would love to have you in our office. We'd love to evaluate you. Please come see us.
And it's complimentary.
Absolutely.
We love what we do.
Our website is BSF Ortho. That's B as in Bert, S as in Stewart, F as in Fletcher, Ortho, ORTHO. So please, when you get a chance, stop by and see us.